What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 17 of my Total War Warhammer 3 Man-Eaters Immortal Empires campaign. So as we saw last time, Magic Feaster Smashgoda and his arranged army faced off against Grimgor's main stack, which was a pretty darn fun fight where we had to back off and certainly work for our victory. And very nice to see proper debut for an army. Granted, they've fought a few times before, but nothing like that, let's say. So I'm pretty happy with what went on there. Otherwise, we have generally declared war on Grimgor, and we'll be looking to try to finish up with him as soon as possible, as well, he's kind of bordering a lot of our territories, and the longer we let this go on, the more likelihood there is that we lose a place. I also see Golgfag Suneater is on the approach, and he is not at war with Grimgor, even though he doesn't like him, and will thus most likely be trying to move towards Firemouth, which means we do need to deal with that as soon as possible as well. Probably something Magic Feaster Smashgoda will have to do, see if we can't sort of head him off. At least that's the plan anyway. Anyway, let's start from the top, shall we? Golgi, you're always on top. Slanesh Giggle. Let's get to you. Moving to Kunlun, we do have to finish up the contracts here, and I do think that we should probably start speeding up the contract completion to get towards the victory for the campaign. Unfortunately, campaign's getting older, interest is beginning to wane, engagement is dropping, etc., etc. So, and we do have to move towards wrapping it up, or at least starting to do so. I have been meandering around, admittedly. Anyway, I'm gonna head to Kunlun, so go here. We'll trade it to our clients, and ooh, there's a Deathmaster Snitch over here with a pretty solid army as well. We wouldn't want him to take Wang Chang because Wang Chang has the iron smelter, and we want to keep that. Ooh, we also have a lot of client satisfaction. Alright, if we can get Deathmaster Snitch, we'll get him. Anyway, let's see what we got over here. Brawler Guts, or Mr. Paychest, or Mr. Gold Eater. Okay, so I do see that the Slaneshi faction is moving down towards Blood Mountain, which is another iron territory, which is much more valuable than the Folly of Malefax or the Fetid Catacombs or all that, especially since we haven't invested in any of these places. So I think we're going to ignore this and probably head up here instead. We can move a little bit further in March stance, but we'd suffer attrition that way, so I think it's probably safer to do this, and then we can, wow, barely heal up at all. Damn. Without a butcher in this army, it's very much a problem. We got about 4 turns until we can start setting up camps again, though, so we just gotta keep that in mind. Anyway, Brawler gets Blout. You are looking to wipe out the Nagaroth High Elves. You can't reach that one, but what you can maybe do is go into ambush right here and see if we can't ambush the ambushers. Wonder why they march stanced away, presumably just so that they would not be reachable by Brawler Guts Blout and the Winter Army. Gold Hoarder Drunk Bat, you're fine as you are for now. Skruck Eyeballa. I guess we could sack the Granite Spikes. It's not much sack value, though. On the other hand, what do we have in terms of defenses here? So the Fortress of Eyes is building a defensive structure. Presumably that means Glumba Vargash won't be able to take it, so I'm just thinking if Magic Feaster Smashgoda needs to move southward to deal with Golgfag, we might want to move Skruck down there instead of bothering with the Granite Spikes. I can always loop back around if needed. And it's not like this is a threat or anything. Yeah, you know what? Let's go into March stance like this. Go as far as we can this way. Or this way. It doesn't really... Okay, fine, go this way. And then we will move you down to Karagvrag, or possibly even just past it. Like so, ignoring the enemy's settlements, and we'll see if we need to deal with Golgfag. If he goes like this to Firemouth, then we'll have to run down there and then gun him down with all of these range units. Alright, you two are good in the setup. Who's up next? Gold Hoarder is fine. Greasy. You are besieging, but honestly, I'd love to fight this in the field. There is a full stack, a very solid full stack. They got good stuff. They got spiky rollers, lots of trolls and giants, which we might have a little bit of a tough time against. Lots of black orcs, biggins, plus a full wall, plus a very solid garrison. I'm thinking it's fairly likely that they do sally out and attempt to attack us here, so I'd rather have the field battle, as there is much less of a chance of a desync there, though admittedly it still does happen. Magic Feaster Targog, you're going to the Fortress of the Damned. engagement, and I would like you to march stance or full speed stance over there, and just to sort of prevent Kuhar from trying to move on the Palace of Princes this way. And just kind of float there menacingly, as you do. And I believe that's all we got for this turn. And we have no money to spend, so I guess there's nothing else to do. We got Plague Immunity Duration 1 turn. Plague Immunity Duration. Okay, I don't care about that. Anyway, unassigned skill points, building upgrades, available damage, building. Don't care about that. That's probably a Norska. And in turn. Alright. I believe somebody suggested we could give Grimgor's territories back to Zatan so that, hello. We did manage to ambush Alith and Anar. What was I saying? Alright, give the territories back to Zatan so that he could recover. Unfortunately, the problem is we can only do that if we can get Zatan as a client again, because if we can't, just gifting him those territories would mean pissing off all the Cathians and the Golden Order, and we are trading with those, and our money isn't good enough to sort of let our biggest or some of our biggest trading partners go. Anyway, Alith and Anar, you got ambushed, buddy. You're screwed. Alright, here we go. Column of elves surrounded from every side by ogres, thunder tusks, and stone horns and gorgers and yeti. Well, stuff. Here we go. We're gonna hit him to start off with that flock of doom right in the big old blob, and it looks like the main enemy host is sort of milling around as they just don't know where to run. On top of that, they are gonna get slowed down by the wow. Illyrian Reaver Archers, a cavalry unit down to 9 speed. That's pretty crazy, and I think they're going nowhere at all. Certainly they're going nowhere fast. Anyway, the enemy army is pretty much already devastated. The balance of power shift to about 90% in our favor within the first, 10 or 15 seconds of engagement. The enemy's main blob sort of gets corralled and blobbed up, wherein they can't turn anywhere, and they're getting attacked by everybody from every side. It looks like Alith and Anar abandons his troops and books it on out of there, leaving a shadow clone for us to fight while trying to head towards the exit. But the Stone Horn of Morn does sight him and will chase after him. And he's going to have a difficult time escaping as his speed is reduced to 44. Although we could use a little bit more reductions, we'll see how the Stone Horn of Morn handles it. Out here, White Lions get absolutely torn apart by Gorgers and Yetis, but frankly the same thing is repeating itself all over the battlefield. Generally speaking, ambushes are pretty darn fast, and this ambush is already over as the enemy army has shattered. Yeah, probably took less than a minute of engagement, and frankly the enemy army was already doomed from the first 10 seconds. A brutal ambush. And Alith and Anar down to 20% of his HP. He's very close to the edge of the map, but a couple more hits from the Stonehorn look like they will indeed bring him down. And this will be the last we ever see from him, as he has 1 settlement remaining, and I just don't think he's gonna recover. Alright, he goes flying, and we'll get back up again, but by the looks of it, not for long, as he, by the looks of it, will now get knocked down again. And man, that mass. I just want to see the death animation, if there is one, or does he just get trampled? No, I think he just gets trampled without even getting ripped apart. All right, all good. Alright, that was horrifyingly effective. Not only are these guys good in ambush, but because of all the frostbite and the chilling aura and whatnot, enemies can't even really run away. Alith and Anar tried, but then got chased down by the Snow Horn of Morn as well, which was beautiful to see it as the star, which well, to be fair, it does tend to take the spotlight. Anyway, we're going to not bother with the meat. Let's go for ransom captives, as odd as that may sound. And Alith and Anar really should have stayed back instead instead of trying to sack our territory, he really should have attempted to defend the walls instead. We also now got the defeated trait, but it's not frankly really useful for us. At least not, it's only local region. If it was faction-wide, then sure. But anyway, peace treaty with Grimgor. No, and yes indeed, Morgulus Backstab will indeed attack us with what is essentially 3 stacks. Pyrrhic Victory, this, well, this does sound like fun, doesn't it? Let's go.
Ogres win. Always. Let me down, and you'll be my next meal.
Alrighty, here we go. Greasy and his hunter actually looking pretty good in the sort of Darklands lighting that we've got going on here. And on top of that, with the debut of our Crushers, this is also the debut of Greasy's full army, essentially, as he has been waiting a while to get it maxed out. We'll see how the Crushers do on those Ruinoxes, and with those great weapons of theirs, 171 weapon strength armor piercing should be pretty darn solid. Alright, anyway, we got 3 stacks arrayed against us, so we are going to try to draw them towards us. Of course, they are attacking us, but we do have at least, what, a minute and 30 seconds to try to deal a little bit of damage to the enemy army before we back away. Of course, we can't do that with the rest of our army, but Greasy is essentially a cavalry unit moving as fast as a Stonehorn does. All those arrows, I don't think he cares. There we go. Alright, and the arrows did basically nothing. And he's heading towards the enemy lord to have a little bit of a duel if the enemy lord doesn't try to run away, but even if he does, Greasy can activate his rampage ability, causing everybody to turn and attack him. There we go, very, very nice. I'm really liking Greasus in general now. He's a lot more fun than he used to be. Now that he's essentially a cavalry unit, he can fight with the best of them and then get the heck out of there as needed. 67 movement speed. 67 movement speed, plenty of mass at 6,200, as well as, well, we gave him the thing that gives him Strider, but that's really helpful as well, keeping him nice and speedy. Anyway, the enemy lord is down to a 10% HP, though being a level 4 lord is probably not all that threatening anyway. And we are going to book it on out of there before we get surrounded. Now, if you're wondering why the hunter came here as well, it's to move towards those goblin bolt throwers and summon the Saber-Tusk pack up on top of them. Now, the bolt throwers are torn apart, and even if they weren't really a threat to us, the taking of them out, I don't know why I said it like that, taking them out is important so that we can hold a nice bit of ground. We are outnumbered 3-1 after all. And if you count models rather than units, we're outnumbered, I don't know, 100-1, something like that. There's a lot of enemies to be contending with. On the bright side, I suppose they can't get all 40 units on, or all 60 units, whatever, on the field at once, just the 40, so they won't be able to quite surround us completely. Anyway, Greasy and the Hunter heading back towards our main line now. It looks like Greasy's trundling a little bit faster than the Hunter is. 83 versus 67 speed, but the Hunter doesn't have Strider, does it? Or does it? No, it doesn't. Alright, so the elevation will favor Greasy on anything that slows him down. Anyway, and getting back to the main line where our bruisers, the leaders of our Iron Guts, are waiting for the enemy to arrive, and we've got a nice little impassable terrain sort of thing on each side of our army here and here. The masses of lead belchers are also going to get ready to fire into the blobs of enemies as they sort of blob up and try to hit us here. And we've got the Crushers waiting in the wings to countercharge enemy spiky rollers, boar boy chariots, boar boy biggins, etc, etc, etc. Hopefully it works out nicely. Anyway, and just setting up, getting those lead belchers ready to fire into the enemy blobs, and there we are. I love that sound. Alright, the first victims of the lead belchers will be this unit of river trolls who lose about 2/3 of their HP within the first few volleys. And of course the blob that's behind them will get hit with any additional cannon fire that they miss. And there we go, a volley of cannons at the same time as a bone crusher right into the middle of this formation. This is an absolutely brutal way to try to approach our army. Very, very nice. And that basically destroys 2 units and heavily damages one of the Black Orc units. And of course the River Troll Hags are booking it on out of there as well. At the same time as this is happening, the Crushers have charged on in and found the enemy spiky rollers here. This is a terrible, terrible matchup for spiky rollers, though admittedly I've actually seen them do fairly well against cavalry, but fragile cavalry. Or at least more fragile cavalry, I should say. And the great weapon wielding Crushers will absolutely tear these guys apart. There are going to be a few units of infantry over here as well that will try to aid the spiky rollers, but I don't think that's going to work out all that well either. There we go, charge on through, whether into the orcs or into the gobos, won't matter. Overrun them and keep it going. Beautiful. I gotta love the mass on these guys. Anyway, in the meantime, the enemy army is nearly there, at the very least closing the distance with our Iron Guts and our units of Bruisers and Lead Belchers. And it's time to countercharge the enemy and wade into the fray. The enemy giants closing in on half HP with GREASY smacking him around. Our Lead Belchers continue firing their support fire, though we do gotta be careful about them firing into our own units here, as that's obviously gonna be dangerous. We can see the massive Crushers over in the background running around, cycle charging into whatever units are trying to aid the enemy fast movers. I really like the aesthetic of this particular army as well. The Iron Guts look very similar to the units riding the Crushers, who could very well be Iron Guts. Basically, everybody here is either heavily armored or has a two-handed weapon, and that includes the Lead Belchers. There we go. GREASY likes the biggest and the baddest. Another Bone Crusher into the center of the enemy formation. 2 giants here now, but it looks like one of them is just about ready to go with about, 5% of its HP remaining, getting that beat down from GREASY's Mace of the Titans, and down it goes, though the kill actually taken by the Bruiser. Not sure if that will get him eaten by GREASY or not. Anyway, GREASY will be dueling this giant now, who's also now down to 20% HP, and with that Mace of the Titans, GREASY is really good at knocking these big boys out. A nice staggering blow from the Mace, and it looks like the Iron Guts are in here as well, and it looks like the giant will turn and attempt to book it on out of there. Hunter's helping out with the Iron Guts as well. Keeping the Hunter in this army because he does provide us that additional mobility. And if GREASY gets stuck, we can always sort of have the Hunter charge and deal with it. Anyway, it looks like the enemy's army is in very bad shape now. The bounce power is about 90% in our favor. Those 4 or 5 units of infantry that moved to combat the Crushers have gotten well crushed. And as soon as the units have been decimated, we'll move in to help chase down the rest of the enemy force. Enemy attempted to have some of their range units fire upon us as well, but the Lead Belchers very quickly took care of those before turning back on the enemy Black Orcs and the enemy Trolls as they attempted to close the distance. Really anything that's distant enough from our Iron Guts so that we didn't, kill off any of our own Iron Guts. Or at least hopefully not too many. A Lead Belcher is definitely a pretty big danger to your own units if you're not careful with them. And it looks like the vast majority of the enemy army is booking it on out of there now, and in fact with that, the enemy army will shatter. Fortunately for us, the Ogre armies are absolutely fantastic at chasing enemies down, especially the armies that are actually made up of tons and tons of Ogres, rather than Nobbler-heavy armies. Man, those Black Orcs look great, though. I can't wait to do another Greenskin campaign in SFO. Should be real fun with all of the extra units and stuff added after the Vampire Counts campaign. Anyway, without the battle's hours, we're going to give chase. We got 3 stacks worth of units to attempt to destroy, and fortunately the speed of the Crushers will allow us to sort of head off the running column and obliterate as many units as possible. Really enjoying these guys, and obviously we've got the cavalry army up and running now as well, so we'll be seeing plenty more of them in the next few episodes. Alrighty, one loss. Which of you idiots managed to get yourselves killed? Looks like one of the Iron Guts, though. Let's see. Oh, it was the Mogrub's mangy marauders that managed to get the kill, I think. Or possibly not. 1711. Okay, so it's counting the summoned saber tusks as kills as well, since we get a bunch of kills. I wish I knew whether it was the enemy or whether it was friendly fire from our various units of lead belchers, which is just as distinct a possibility. And damn, the fire rain rockets, living up to their name, 38,000 damage and 336 kills, followed by 27k and 209 kills. And the trigger-happy tyrants. Very nice. Out of the Iron Guts, looks like the winners by a mile are the Iron Grinders, which ground those orcs to dust beneath their, I don't know, iron boots or whatever it is their ogres have on their feet. 25k damage and 157 kills. Greasy did well and was just hunting giants and trolls and the enemy lord, which explains his relative lack of kills, but he was doing his job. And the Crushers, 26k damage, 22k damage, 28k damage, and 19k, considering this is the first fight they got. They did very nicely as well, and at 364 kills, one of the units of Crushers got the most kills in the battle. Very nice, considering they have lower ranks than everybody else. Happy. Ransom those captives, please, and this, this army's not gonna recover. We'll just auto-resolve the Tower of Gorgoth. Rel Painbringer will go after our iron after all, and he's going to, what, sack it, raise it? Did he raise it? Well, that'll be annoying, but what can you do? Trade agreement with the Shakara of Karandkar. Probably no purpose in doing so. One settlement, and either she'll die or we'll kill her. And, ooh, Deathmaster Snitch. Hello. Can we reach you? Huh. He's in range of Kunlun, so he could come in as a reinforcement of it, which is nice, and I like to see that. Scroll of Power, Cannibal Totem, melee attack and weapon strength plus 10. Ooh, that's a strong banner. Very nice. Enemy killed in battle. The Wild Hunt begins, though it's not our problem yet. We are researching bigger tents now. Very nice. What is this? House of Pain. Capture and occupy Shrine of Ladriel. We could do that. It's not much treasury, to be honest, and there's at least a decent likelihood that we attack the Heralds of Ariel, though I'm still kind of on the fence about it, mostly because if we're moving towards the end of the campaign, there may not be necessarily a need to go after these guys. We could use them as a trade partner in this part of the world. In this neck of the woods. Oh, yeah, I should have said that from the start. Damn it, Ruinous. You're better than this. Come on. Anyway, Karandkar is a tier 4, so we could just occupy it straight up at tier 3. So I think that's what we'll do rather than sack it. Defenders should be pretty lackluster, all things considered. Auto-resolve. Teensy bit of damage, but nothing to be concerned about. And occupy at tier 3, yes? Yes, very nice. Karandkar. And the Gorger Cave? Keep the Gorger Cave. We could build some defenses here, but frankly, once again, I'm kind of on building the defenses in Ogre territories. It just never feels really worth it. Enemy killed in battle, province secured, and Nagarith destroyed. Alright, at least we got to fight them before they went, because it would have been unfortunate if we couldn't. Repair. And, I mean, I guess we could upgrade the place. Somewhat decent likelihood that, I mean, Valkia comes down and retakes some of this territory. Ooh, Kuhar. Got a full stack now, plus the full stack at the Fortress of the Damned with all those chosen and knights and whatnot. I don't even know if this army can handle all that. Sad. You're going to besiege them, and we're going to force them out into a field battle. Rag banner, pop it on the Lord there, and just while we're here, do you need any items? So you're missing a hand weapon and an enchanted item. You have that halfling cookbook. What do we have here? We have a Grut sickle, but I think the halfling cookbook is probably going to be the better pick on a Great Maw Slaughtermaster. We're definitely not giving him the Talisman of Preservation Armor of Destiny, which we're saving for Scrag. And yeah, frankly, we don't have enough items. We still don't have enough items. I guess I got spoiled by the Imric campaign, because I feel like this particular campaign has not been getting nearly enough items, or not nearly as much as we'd like. What do we have here, Painbringer? We have to chase you down, aren't we? He's probably going to run. Okay, so we've got that fight, potentially. Kind of annoying that they took this, because it's faction-wide armor, but I guess it's not the dumbest thing of the AI to have actually focused on that. Golgi, you're gonna fight Deathmaster Snitch, ain't ya? Though I think we'll probably have to do so next episode, as we are pretty much out of time, or at the very least we don't have time for another battle. I was just looking around for a small one, so in fact I think I'm going to call this episode here. I'll do the admin between the episodes, especially the moving, like the 50,000 tech thieves that we have, and then we'll get back to it next time with, ooh, still moving towards hunting Kolek. Yeah, we'll have to chase him down. Hopefully he'll actually try to go for us rather than ignore us. So go here, try to get in his way as much as possible. Oh, we should be able to head him off, but there's no way that we can risk losing... Ooh, yes, nice, flabby fire belly. There's no way that we can risk losing Firemouth, because it's giving us high-level fire bellies, and we need those for our hero army, which is... Let's see. What are we missing here? We're still missing a fair few heroes. 5, 10... 12. We're still missing 12 heroes. 1, 2 fire bellies, so missing 10 heroes, so working on it, getting there, and look at that, he's retaken the Fortress of Eyes. Maybe we'll leave him there, who knows. Could peace out with Grimgor once this is all he has left, and then see if he can revive himself. Also, Kolek, do you have territory left? He has 2 territories left, huh. Kind of surprised that the Malika, the Masters of Innovation, haven't retaken that. Anyway, I will once again call the episode here. Next time we probably fight Kolek, as well as continue on with fighting Grimgor and stuff. There's some more Chaos fights to be had, though this will obviously be a, probably a field battle. We'll allow that to happen. And, oh, before I forget, because I have a bad habit of accidentally leaving sieges up. You're at tier 4, so we could take you at tier 3? Why not? Better than paying for it. I could loot and occupied, but just take it at tier 3. I'll leave a little bit of the admin off. It might have been worth it to sack it, but everything's so expensive. Alright, and you can heal up there and head to the Gates of Jar and the Demon's Stump, and I probably should have stolen some tech before I'm doing that, but oh well. Anyway, calling it here. Likes and comments below. All glory to the algorithm. And thanks for watching.